Hi, folks. I'd just like to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is nutrition. And today I want to talk about oils. What qualifies me to give nutritional advice? Nothing at all. I am not a nutritionist nor a doctor. However, most doctors do not study nutrition or have very little nutrition study as part of their medical degree. Uh, this is why I would suggest, if possible, going to see someone who has the title of an integrated medicine or a functional medicine practitioner, because they are people who have done both a medical degree and then gone on to study holistic health and nutrition. And often they are doctors who spend a lot more time with their patients looking at the holistic causes of various issues rather than just blanketly prescribing pharmaceutical drugs. Anyway, as far as oils are concerned, where have I got this information from? Well, I've done a lot of research and I listen to podcasts from well-respected practitioners. One that I would point you to is Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, who used to have a program called Doctor in the House on BBC, I believe, or in the UK. But he has a great podcast. Also, Dr. Mark Hyman, who does the Broken Brain series, both well worth a look. But today I'd like to talk about oils in particular and what oils are good for what oils you should avoid. Firstly, some of the terms involving oils that we should look out for. Now, you might notice the term refined used in oils a lot. And what does refined mean? It sounds like it's refined as in very well to do and very good for you, or it's a fine oil, but it's not actually fine at all. It's actually a highly processed oil, because a refined oil means that it's actually gone through a lot of processing. It's probably been extracted using solvents. It's gone through a bleaching process and has a lot of chemicals that have been added to it in its processing. So particularly things like canola oil or vegetable oils are often given the term refined, I believe, particularly canola oil. And that means that it's actually a very highly processed oil and very low in antioxidants and low nutritional value. Hence why it is cheap a lot of the time. If you find a canola oil that is certified organic and unprocessed, then it might be a lot better to use, but generally you don't see that in the shops very much. People go around waving the flag, "We cook with canola oil," and actually it's not a flag that you should really be waving, because it's not really the greatest oil to be using for cooking. It's actually, like I say, highly processed, and it's said to be linked to cancer as well. So, and there's a lot of things even claiming to be health products that use canola oil, things that you might not expect. If you look at the ingredients, suddenly you'll find canola oil in it. So things like cashew nuts and peanuts that are roasted in canola oil, chips. Often at fish and chip shops, they use canola oil. Also, butter or spreadable butters or spreads that are sort of alternatives to butters have canola oil. Gluten-free bread and other breads often have canola oil, so not as healthy as they look. Um, Even those things like those pea crisps that are said to be, touted as health products, healthy alternatives to chips and things like that, often are fried in canola oil. And like I say, it's gone through a number of processes and had a lot of chemicals added, and it's a highly processed oil and not very good for you at all. So I'd avoid it if you can. Small amounts of it might be okay, but yeah, if you can avoid canola oil, do. Another oil to look out for is vegetable oil. Now, vegetables sound healthy, don't they? But actually, vegetable oil, the laws around stating ingredients means that you can just call it vegetable oil, and that could actually mean anything. But it means that there's possibly any other list, any types of ingredients in it. It's probably highly processed. Things like palm oil might be contained in it. I believe palm oil is also very bad for you and bad for the environment. So vegetable oil is another likely highly processed oil, and it's generally a low-cost oil that is actually not good for you at all and not good to cook with. And inflammatory in your body. So I'd avoid using vegetable oil. What oils then are best to use and best to cook with or use for other purposes? So oils that say extra virgin mean that they're a raw oil that they've I think they've been pressed but they haven't gone through any other refining processes. So if it says extra virgin, that means it's the best kind of oil that you can use. But then you get virgin oils, which means they've gone through more processing, and then other titles like refined, for example. So avoid, if you can, and generally they're a lot more expensive, go for extra virgin oils. Now, the other thing is to look out in regard to cooking with oils is the burn point or the smoke point of an oil. Now, at certain temperatures, when you cook them, oils become inflammatory, and certain oils have higher and lower burn points. So, for example, olive oil isn't the best for cooking with, particularly on a high heat. It might be okay for using on a low heat, but for cooking on a high heat, it's not the best because it becomes inflammatory. It's got a low burn point. However, olive oil does contain a lot of antioxidants and omega-3 fatty acids and is very good for you if you don't cook it. So if you pour it over your salads or on your bread, for example, then olive oil is great. Omega-3 fatty acids are great for your brain health, and so using olive oil is great, just it's not the best oil to cook with, particularly on a high heat. So what oils do you cook with? Is butter good for cooking? Butter is not so bad for you, actually. Probably better than things like butter alternatives like margarine and things like that. It contains good fatty acids as well. Butter has, though, also a low burn point, so it's not greatest for cooking on a high heat. So use it for sauteing, for example, but not for frying on a high heat. Then we've got oils like coconut oil and avocado oil. Now, these are said to be, from the information that I've gathered, the best oils for cooking with. So they have a high smoke point, which means that you can cook them to a high heat and they'll still, they won't be inflammatory in your body. So coconut oil and avocado oil are touted as the best oils to cook with. And avocado oil also contains, and avocados, for example, and olives contain omega-3 fatty acids, which are good for your brain health. They're also found in fish as well, flax seeds, hemp seed. So yeah, if you want to cook on a high heat, particularly use avocado oil or coconut oil. If you got an oil that's still healthy that you're going to pour on your salads, use coconut oil or on your bread or even over your meat afterwards, after you've cooked it, but don't cook on a high heat with it. Butter is okay for sauteing with and probably better for you than most of the other alternative spreads that you can use on bread, for example. So there we have it. Don't take my word for it. Actually go and seek out this information yourselves. Listen to some of those podcasts I mentioned earlier. Do your own research. But I just wanted to share this information because I think a lot of people aren't aware of it. Okay. Thank you and take care.